Hi, my name is Maya Hamer, and this is John Deere for Productions and Systems Management, Spring 2022. So a little bit about John Deere. First of all, I'll talk a little bit about the logo. So the logo is actually a deer, and their colors are green and yellow. They chose Deere because they wanted to honor the man who created John Deere. So John Deere started his company in 1837, and originally it was just a repair shop. He wanted to help farmers, so he made shovels, he made pitchforks, and eventually he made the steel plow. What's interesting about this particular story is that he got so many orders for a steel plow that he started having to manufacture them before he even had people request. So it used to be back in the day that somebody would say, I want this particular item, and that's when you would start to make it because you didn't know how many more orders you were going to get. But because he had so much interest, he chose a different way to produce something that was new, something that hadn't been used in farming yet. He was the original, use source for a steel plow. Now, this company was passed down to his family members, and he did serve as president before he passed away. But once his sons passed away, the company became incorporated, and they were incorporated into Deere and Company. A little bit about the business of today. So this is the CEO. His name is John May, and he does operate under the idea of innovation is key. So even back in the day, once they had become incorporated, they really outsourced a lot of their production. So they went overseas. They acquired companies who were already making tractors. So when they started to get into other farm equipment, they didn't simply just invent it or make it themselves. They found other companies to make it for them. John May does operate under that same principle, but he has allowed a lot of his company members to sort of be more innovative and creative with what they're doing. So they're starting with machine learning, looking at herbicide. They have introduced a lot of new data analytic techniques. They've also introduced LEAP, which essentially is it's a charity that's set up to help Black farmers kind of get back the land that was sharecropped by their ancestors, and they don't have the heir to that land. And that's an initiative that John Deere started for their diversity and equity research. They wanted to sort of be more inclusive. And in 2019, when John May became the CEO, he wanted to find more ways to include as many people as possible because you have to feed the world, as they say. Again, like I say, the business operations for John Deere, most of it is outsourced. Most of it is overseas. Most of it is factories, but they do not just produce for farmers. They do produce commercially. They produce for commercial consumers. So they have things like lawnmowers. They have small shovels, small plows, something just an average everyday person can use. So their customer is pretty much everyone. But the new management is encouraging new technologies. So the data analytics for John Deere have grown significantly. They are starting to get more into e-commerce. So with the new websites, their websites aren't just used for how you would say me going online trying to buy a tractor. Essentially farmers like out in like even North Carolina, they will have their own website that they can go to and specifically order if they have a contract with John Deere. So John Deere has data analytics not just based on what an average consumer wants, but what an average farming company would like to have. And a lot of the data analytics that they're using now is around SQL, R, and they're using a lot of data visualization tools like Power BI and Tableau. So inside of their corporate meetings, they are trying their hardest to use technology to analyze what their customers would want. They are using new technology today to make that go a little bit more smoothly. They also have autonomous tractors. They are using machine learning for herbicide use. They are trying to make it so you could essentially farm by a computer. And that is another way that John Deere is trying to be as innovative as they possibly can. In conclusion, John Deere is a company with a very long past. They started off as just a small repair company that would make a couple of tools that farmers could use and have grown globally. They've grown nationally. They aren't just helping farmers in America. They're helping farmers everywhere. They're helping to produce food, and they're also trying to be a part of the conversation. So they're trying to be more diverse as a company, and they're trying to use technology, use the tools of today to increase their own business, but also increase the effectiveness of farming, to produce more food, to give more opportunities to different workers. They're also trying to include more technology jobs. So the new CEO invites new practices, he invites innovation, he invites outsourcing for most of their operations, which is mainly what they do. They do operate as more of a, we will essentially acquire this particular company that makes this certain type of tractor rather than making it in-house themselves. They then buy it, and then that becomes a part of John Deere. But the operations tend to stay the same underneath the company that they just acquired. Now, new analytic techniques that are being used, I can show you a couple of them. One of them would be Tableau. Lastly, I wanted to show a small personal project that I did. I just wanted to look at the tractor sales from 2019, 2020 at John Deere. So I went to the fact books and I downloaded tractor and combined industry unit sales. I put that into Sheets so I could look at it a little bit better. Then I put it into Tableau over here. And lastly, I just kind of wanted a little bit of visualization, and I only wanted to look at really 2019, 2020. I added 2018 as well, just to kind of give myself a little bit more visual. But I just wanted to see, was there any real difference between, and this is only looking at the four farm wheel tractors. It's not looking at anything else. I was just curious to know if there was a dip in sales between 2019 and 2020.